I felt like I didn't belong until I found my inner truth. Hi, my name is May, and I am your host of this podcast. I want to invite you on this spiritual journey to find love, acceptance, inner truth, and a sense of belonging, in spite of a multicultural background. Let's get together and overcome our issues with labels and stop trying to fit in boxes that were not made for us. Let's stop looking at what makes us different and see what brings us together without losing our authenticity. If you like the podcast, please give it a 5-star rating. This will give more people the opportunity to find us, or share it with someone who will benefit of it. Today I'm taking you with me on a hike to Waipio Valley in Hawaii. And, we're not on the hike yet. I'm only in the drive up there. But I wanted to share with you something about why saying goodbye, what saying goodbye even means, and what kind of meditations alternatives there are. Have fun. Servus, beautiful people. I'm so glad to be back here with you. I wanted to take you on a little trip with me. Right now I'm road tripping by myself to Waipio Valley, a very interesting and unique place here on Big Island, Hawaii. You have an amazing view into the valley from the lookout point, and then you can walk down a winding road. Well, if I say walk, walking down is easier than coming back up. So some people take their cars, but if you don't have a 4-wheel drive car, it's not possible to drive down there because you probably won't get your car back up. And and so usually it's a little bit scary to be walking down that, because it's a very steep spot, but a lot of people do that walking. And I've been here once with my friends from where I was learning Hawaiian philosophy. And it was interesting because all three of us decided, when we go back, we're going to go and we're going to hitchhike and ask someone to take us back up the street because it's so steep. But somehow all three of us started just walking back up, and we didn't go fast. We just, everyone at their own pace. And somehow we ended up being back up there. I think we walked about half an hour, so it's not too bad, but it is very steep. So if you have trouble with your knees, it's probably better to get a 4-wheel drive car or get someone to ask them to take you back up, because even walking down can be very challenging for the knees. But anyhow, actually, if you walk into Waipio Valley, you can actually also walk to the waterfalls. But somehow that beach is calling me. And I remember last time when we went, we didn't spend too much time at the beach. And I feel like, I don't know, somehow that beach is calling me. And it's going to be the spot where I will say goodbye to the ocean, because it's already, for me, it's my almost last day. I have a little bit more than 48 hours on the island. So I want to, I don't know, probably say goodbye to the ocean. I have this ritual for myself that whenever I am by the ocean, I do say goodbye before I head back to Germany in this case, because I know it's going to take a while. Well, not a while. If everything goes as I plan it, I'll hopefully in about 2 or 3 months be back somewhere by the ocean. So we'll see. But like I said, I trust that things happen whenever they have to happen. So, but I like to say, I don't know, it's one thing, with all the traveling, with everything of that, one of the things that has become very important to me is really saying goodbye. Like, I know some people don't like to say goodbye. And I understand that, and actually I also learned to respect that. Very much before, I used to always get basically sad when someone didn't say goodbye to me. but I have learned to respect that. I really don't know why that's so important to me. No, actually, I do know. I do know. For me, it's always important to say goodbye because I never know if I will ever see that person again. You never know because there's so many things that can happen on this planet. And I'm not saying that that's one thing that I do because of because I want to paint a dark picture or because I want to expect that, but just out of experience, I feel that we are all connected through energy, right? So it's never that, but at least for my physical body and for that physical body of that person. And it's funny how I just realized I got there from saying goodbye to the ocean. But it's in general the gesture of saying goodbye, right? But anyhow, it's probably not necessary to say goodbye because we're somehow all connected through on a spiritual level. But I feel like my essence that is here right now wants to say goodbye to whatever essence of the other person is here right now, because next time we'll see each other is going to be something different. Even though we're still the same person, but we all evolve somehow. So I always feel like, yeah, it's that. I think it's one last moment of saying goodbye. That could be one reason. Another reason that I feel could be it is, having when you say goodbye, it's not just saying goodbye. I mean, it's also, one last checking in. Are we fine? Is everything okay between us? Because if you had a fight with someone or a discussion with someone, you might not be in a very good mood to say goodbye, and then maybe you don't say goodbye. And if that's the case, that's going to be the last time you see someone, maybe you want to say goodbye in a nicer way, or maybe see if everything is good again. But now that I'm telling you this, I feel that even that is not important either, because if you have become separate from that person because of a fight or a discussion, or maybe because you just don't have the same vibration anymore, maybe it's not necessary to say goodbye then. So yeah, that's also a nice thought about it, to just leave it, Anywho, for everybody where I feel connected, to say the truth, I always prefer to say proper goodbyes, and if it's not possible, sometimes it is sad. But anyhow, so it is my little tradition to go and say goodbye to the ocean. And so I want to say goodbye to this ocean. I have brought my pu'u, which is my, it's something that's like a conch shell, just made out of bamboo. No, it's actually just a piece of bamboo that has a hole in a special way, so that when you blow that thing, it sounds like a conch shell. And according to the Hawaiian person where I got it from, that he said that the Hawaiians use that for them to greet at rituals, so they used that to greet people in rituals when they were opening up the space for something. And that actually the conch shell was something very Tahitian. I spoke about that with my teacher here on Big Island, and in her family tradition it's different. They use the conch shell. She didn't know that there was a pu'u that was made of bamboo. So that was interesting to see that within their same culture there were two definitions for that. So you probably know from other cultures where you have different definitions as well of the same thing. So I just wanted to share that one with you. But anyhow, I always use my pu'u because my pu'u is made of bamboo, and for me bamboo is the plant of the ancestors. And in my case, I always I feel like I combine them, or they represent for me especially the Chinese ancestors. I don't know why. Maybe because I've always, whenever I see bamboo drawings, of the bamboo plant, I always have to think of something Chinese. On one hand, and also in general for my ancestors. So a very earthy, very grounding, like my roots. Because usually the pu'u is something very water. I mean, that's why it's supposed to be a conch shell, right? It's supposed to be connected by the ocean. And in my case, my pu'u is very earthbound, which is interesting because I always feel like my connection to the water or to the ocean is bigger than to earth. But in that case, for me, it represents my ancestors. So it's my ancestors, the people that walked this planet before me. And because it's bamboo, it's very earthy. So I'm going to use that to greet the ocean and say goodbye to the ocean, because I feel like it's my tool to bring those two elements together, also the earth and the ocean. And just make a circle of that. When I came here, I greeted the ocean with a pu'u, and when I'm leaving, I'm saying goodbye with a pu'u as well. In my envision of the ocean, they do see that. The ocean hears the message that I'm sending out. And so that's that one. That's what I want to do in Vaipio. And of course also, a walk like that is always very good, since I haven't been able to go jogging very well in the past couple of weeks. Going for a walk like that, especially one that really, makes your body work, it makes it I don't know, it challenges your body, and somehow that always makes me feel like I'm sorting my thoughts, like my thoughts are being sorted and put in place, and put together, and that always helps to get a better mind, better thinking. So that's my goal for today. That's my road tripping, and we'll see what what ideas I got. I have a couple of ideas for not for the podcast itself, but I think that there's a little summit being born, especially for the multicultural people in the past couple of days. As you may have heard, that I'm still looking for people who are willing to be interviewed and to share their stories. I'm actually thinking of putting them together instead of on a weekly basis here on the podcast. I feel that I want to put them together in a summit first, and see what we can do with that. So that's that part. So that's how I get creative. I try to either go for runs if it's possible. Sometimes the weather doesn't make it possible, or the place I'm at. And I don't know. I really can't tell you much about today, or more than that, because I feel that something's coming, some idea or something wants to be born, and it wants me to take that hike for it. So I'm just gonna allow myself to go there and see how that works, whatever comes up. But whatever will happen, I will definitely keep you in the loop, and I will definitely keep you in tune for all of this. Yeah, and I think that's it for today. That was a couple of nice topics. Saying goodbye. How important is saying goodbye? It's interesting. I'm grateful that I'm allowed to share my thoughts with you here, because sometimes by sharing our thoughts, we also get epiphanies. And yeah, I just realized it's not about the saying goodbye. Actually, it's just about connecting one more time with each other. Because when I think about the ocean doesn't need to say goodbye to me, or I don't have to say goodbye to it, because we're just part of each other. That's what I think. And I think that because, I mean, we're 80% water, right? So we somehow belong together. But it's just of reconnecting one last time, before I can reconnect again in a couple of weeks or months. And maybe that's what saying goodbye truly is reconnecting one more time before there's a huge pause, before we can reconnect again in a different way. Because we never know. At least with this physical body, we never know. At least not yet. I guess there will be a point where we do know. For how long we are staying here, but that will make this conversation way too long. So for now, maybe that impulse or that idea of what is saying goodbye all about. So in my definition, I would say it's about reconnecting one more time before a break. But I'm interested in what you think about it. So if you can, send me a message. My website has this chat button where I can chat to you. So if you want to, you can use that one as well. And yeah, the pool, the saying goodbye, the using your body to get creative. I think it's so, just one last thing about that. I think it's so interesting because I remember I used to not like, it's not that I didn't like working out. I've always liked working out, but like you always have this person inside of you sometimes saying, oh, you don't need to go today. Be lazy, stay at home, don't do anything. And I feel now that I have started to allow my body to really, gotten into the habit of doing something regularly. I don't always do the same thing, but I do something regularly. And I've realized, I think that little voice was actually the same voice that tries to keep you away from being mindful with yourself, It's that little voice that's trying to tell you, hey, you don't need to meditate, you don't need to look inside. Because for at least for me, jogging or working out in general is a good way to, it grounds you, and at the same time it helps you sort your thoughts and lets you become creative. Like, I've had so many good ideas when I was jogging. So and that's why, and I think it's that same voice. It's not a voice that wants to say, hey, it's not about looking good or, like losing weight or this whole I need to look good for whatever covers, pictures. It's not about that. It's actually just about being healthy and being mindful with yourself, you know. As long as you do something, your body stays healthy, and then you can just, you know, be good for yourself and be in your center. And that's why I like to promote or to encourage people to try that, especially those kind of people that don't like meditating very much, you know. To tell you the truth, I'm not like, I feel I do meditate, but in a different way, because I just became very mindful of myself and my body and self-aware of what's happening there. So I tend to read my intuition in a different way. I don't need to sit down 20 minutes and think of nothing, you know, to tap into my intuition. But that's also one thing, because I realized it's something I can do while moving. You know, when you move yourself and you start becoming more and more aware of what's happening in your body, you know, like if you're feeling good, if you're not feeling good, if something's hurting, you know, like the typical body scan that you probably, the more you practice that, you're going to realize that you come in connection with something inside of you. And once you overcome that part of your intuition, that's when you become part, that's when you overcome the part of, when you overcome the part of your body, that's when you tap into your intuition more and more. And that's when suddenly you get ideas and suddenly you see things so clear. It's so amazing, you know? And so if you haven't found that for yourself yet, I encourage you, I want to invite you. If you don't like jogging, go for a walk, you know? I used to not like jogging either. I didn't like going for a run. Until someone recommended the 5K app, so I started doing with the 5K app. If you want to start running, I recommend that one, because it sort of like eases you into the whole process. But if you're not a running person, and I understand, because not everybody's a running person, you know. If you're not a running person, maybe you are a walking person, so go for a walk. And if you're not a walking person, go have you know, like, there's so many ways, beautiful ways that you can do something with your body. Like I said, it doesn't have to be something so strong. Like, it can be walking, or it can be go ride a bike, you know. But don't ride a bike just to get from so sorry. Don't ride a bike just to get from A to Z or A to B. Ride a bike just to ride a bike, you know. Like, you go for a run just to go for a run, you know. So if you do that, like purposely doing something, and like I said, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to go and start CrossFitting every week, you know. Start with something easy for you. And you will see that doing that will also help you meditate. I believe that will also help you become mindful with yourself, with your being. Yeah. So that's why I like doing that. So that's why I think physical things are also very important. Physical movement, you know. So yeah. That was that part, and I think for now that was a big part. And yeah, that's how I wanted to take you with me. I'm almost at Vaipio. I'll see if I get inspired to record another sesh with you while walking down or up the hill. Maybe not up, because I'll be panting too much, but maybe walking down the hill. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. I hope this little road trip in sesh inspired you in some way for any of the 3 topics, or sorry, 2 topics that we had today. And yeah, have a nice day, afternoon, or week. Yeah, just have a good start into the week. And remember, if you feel like you don't belong, find your inner truth. Have a nice day. Servus.